Welcome to the 2021 National Bar Association's 41st Annual Gertrude E. Rush Awards.
Good evening. I am Shatori Bates. Welcome to the Gertrude Rush Awards ceremony. Today has been an amazing day. We have started off with content rich sessions. We have honored our Heman Sweat Awards recipients, and I want to say congratulations to all of you again. We have listened to phenomenal experts on police misconduct during the closing plenary session. What a great program we've had all day today, an exciting day. So, this evening, we will celebrate the legacy of the National Bar Association's only female founder. Her name was Gertrude Elzora Rush, and she was a civil rights activist and a legend in her own right. This event highlights extraordinary men and women who have stood on her shoulders and the shoulders of others like her, and they are committed to lifting others along their journeys. Before we honor our legal leaders, we will first have a special invocation, and then I want you to join me in enjoying the University of Central Florida Cultural Gospel Choir's virtual rendition of James Weldon Johnson's Lift Every Voice and Sing. Following them, Madam President C.K. Hoffler will bring us greetings just before we honor our 2021 Gertrude Rush Awards recipients.
Let us pray. O God of all creation, God of all justice, we come before you this day with thankfulness in our hearts. Grant us wisdom in this gathering, grant us unity, and grant us purpose, so that we may make an impact for you in this beloved profession that you have called us to be a part of. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has.
For us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Is won. Is won. Is won.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Gertrude Rush Awards Banquet. As you know, Gertrude Rush was that trailblazing, extraordinary woman who was one of the founders of the National Bar Association in 1925. And indeed, we celebrate Gertrude Rush and during our mid-year conference by honoring her tradition, honoring her excellence, honoring all that she means to the National Bar Association through awarding those individuals who are deserving of the honor and the great accolades of being given an award in honor of Gertrude Rush. And this year's recipients of the Gertrude Rush Award are none other than Tom Sampson, who this year is celebrating the existence of his law firm for 50 years. His law firm has been trailblazing and making a difference in Georgia, in this country, for the past 50 years. Gino Brogdon Sr., he is the mediator of all mediators. I have personally known Gino Brogdon for many years, used his services. He's just absolutely incredible. David Green. What can I say about David Green? The General Counsel of the National Bar Association. I've known David Green since law school. He was my Deputy General Counsel, one of them when I was General Counsel to past President Kim Keenan. He is an extraordinary professor of law at North Carolina Central School of Law, and he's just a very, very talented and brilliant General Counsel. Don Jones. Don Jones is the president of the Georgia Bar, the second African-American woman to serve in this position. She's just been a trailblazing lawyer, having worked at Big Law and then taking the step to open up her own practice. She is both a nurse practitioner as well as a lawyer, and president, like I said, of the Georgia State Bar. Tanya Clayhouse from State Infrastructure Fund. Tanya Clayhouse is the chair of our Civil Rights Division here at the National Bar Association. She also has been the senior advisor for the National Bar on our voting rights laws, on our voting rights policy, on our voting rights strategy, along with Barbara Arnwine, and she's just extraordinary in her own right. Leslie Fields from the Sierra Club, senior counsel, has been just an incredible addition to our NBA team. She co-chaired the election protection effort for the National Bar Association this year, leading the charge for the presidential elections and also for the Georgia runoff elections. Known Leslie also since law school. And finally, Bruce Jackson. Bruce Jackson, who is lead counsel for global sales and marketing and operations for Microsoft, one of the most senior lawyers at Microsoft, and has just been an extraordinary trailblazing attorney throughout this country and throughout the world, and who is a very active participant of the NBA and has always ensured that Microsoft be one of our partners, our global partners. So to each of the recipients, I want to say congratulations, and I want to express my gratitude for all that you've done for the National Bar and for this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first stellar group of Gertrude E. Rush Awards recipients.
M. Gino Brogdon Sr. is a nationally sought-after mediator who earned his legal stripes as a trial lawyer in a number of large respected law firms in Atlanta, Georgia. Gino also served nearly 10 years on the busiest trial bench in the Southeast. Now arbitrating nearly 3,000 cases since 2002, Gino is known for his decisiveness, authenticity, strong candor, but agile style, and his nearly unmatched work ethic. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute M. Gino Brogdon Sr.
To Madam President, Ms. C.K. Hoffler, to all the members of the National Bar Association, thank you so much for honoring me with this Gertrude Rush Award. An award in her name is really special for me for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a guy that doesn't get many awards, so anytime someone acknowledges me, it's like getting a birthday present. But more importantly, Gertrude Rush set a high watermark for the rest of us at a time where it was nearly impossible to do so. So in accepting this award, I accepted humbly and realized that I stand on her shoulders. I want to thank everybody from the time I thought about being a lawyer all the way to this moment, through my career as a judge, through my career as a trial lawyer, through my career as a neutral. It has been just amazing, and I want to thank everyone who contributed to that and made me possible. I am grateful, I am thankful, and I accept this award humbly. Thank you.
David Green is presently serving as the General Counsel for the National Bar Association. After serving as an Assistant United States Attorney in the District of Delaware, he joined the faculty and is now a full professor at North Carolina Central School of Law. He also served in previous roles at the National Bar Association, including Deputy General Counsel and the Chair of the Presidential Showcase, among other roles. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute David A. Green.
Good evening, National Bar Association family. I am honored to be a recipient of the Gertrude Rush Distinguished Service Award. Gertrude Rush was one of the founders of this great organization in 1925. She and the other founders realized how important it was to have Black and brown attorneys around the country. As one of the first members, as the first African-American female member of the Iowa Bar, she was committed to civil rights, and so many other members around the country during that time period. In 1925, it was so important to make sure that the National Bar Association was created. In 2021, it is just as important. President Hoffler has identified 3 pandemics: election protection, police brutality, and COVID-19. Members of the National Bar Association have to take the lead in being a loud voice, being an advocate for our community who may not otherwise have a voice. I joined the National Bar Association in 1986. And through that, I met so many great attorneys. Through the contacts, I was able to get a clerkship with a federal judge in DC upon graduation from law school. It is critical in 2021 that we continue to broaden the number of judges of color on the bench, particularly African American judges. We, as the members of the National Bar Association, have to take the lead. I have committed my career to working within the community to ensure that individuals whose voices have historically not been heard continues to be heard. We have to take the lead. I want to thank President Hoffler and the committee for considering me. I am honored and blessed for this recognition. I will continue to be committed to the National Bar Association. Thank you all. This is a strong organization. We do great things. We continue to do great things. And thank you for this acknowledgement.
The NBA would be remiss if we did not pause to acknowledge the 2020 awards recipients who were scheduled to be honored during this very program last year. With the pandemic in full force, like the rest of the world, the NBA's plans changed. And so tonight, you would like you to join us in watching a special video presentation of the awards recipients, and then we will continue with our program. So watch with me.
Because of their legacy of dedication and commitment and overall recognition as civil rights leaders whose footprints we stand in today, the National Bar Association respectfully and proudly presented these awards to the individuals who continue to work hard to uphold the legacy of these esteemed civil rights visionaries. Because of your achievements and steadfast commitments towards protecting our future, our 2020 Gertrude E. Rush Awards were presented to NBA past President Dale D. Parks, Esquire, the Honorable Justice Robert Benham, the Honorable Eleanor L. Ross, the Honorable Clarence Cooper, Avarita L. Hansen, Esquire, Juanita P. Barranco, Esquire, and National Bar Association Vice President Nathaniel Lee, Esquire. Tanya Clay House is Senior Program Officer for Voting Rights at the State Infrastructure Fund, where she manages the voting rights portfolio, including all national voting rights litigation funding. As an Obama administration appointee, Mrs. House formerly served as the Deputy Assistant Director for P-12 Education in the Office of Planning, Evaluation, and Policy Development at the U.S. Department of Education. Mrs. House also serves as CEO and co-founder of Clay House Consulting Incorporated, whose clients have included the NAACP and the National Coalition for School Diversity, the Network for Public Education, the African American Policy Forum, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Tanya Clay House.
First, I want to give honor to God for allowing me to be here today. I want to thank President Hoffler and the nominating committee for allowing me to be here to accept this award. I want to also thank my family, my husband Damon, and my two children, Dylan and Tyler, who many of you have seen grow up throughout the years at every MBA conference. I also want to thank my extended family, those who initially welcomed me into the MBA, especially my good friend Juan Thomas, my friend Cheryl Gray Evans, past President Reginald Turner, and so many others who encouraged a graduate of the University of Texas School of Law who was eager to do something, to get involved. And I want to thank all of you all who have seen fit to allow me to continue to be and serve as not only an MBA member, as a board member, but also as chair of the Civil Rights Law section. Many of us approach our legal career in different ways. And as many of you know, I have chosen a path of advocacy through public policy. This has led me in many directions, whether it's starting in Congress, working both in the House and Senate, working with major civil rights organizations, working in the Obama administration, and now in philanthropy. I still believe that God has a plan for me, even though I don't always know what that is. But I am so thankful for the opportunities that I have already been able to have. Whether it's through voting rights, education, criminal justice, judicial nominations, my premise has always been the achievement of racial equity, as was Gertrude Rush. And that is why it is such, with great honor, with humility and gratitude, that I thank you and I accept this award. And I commit to you to continue to try to achieve and live up to this honor as I move forward in the rest of my career and utilize the gifts that God has blessed me with. Thank you so much.
As National Director, Policy Advocacy and Legal, Leslie Fields brings almost 30 years of federal, state, local, and international environmental justice and environmental law and policy experience to the Sierra Club. She serves on the boards of the Children's Environmental Health Network and Empower DC. She also serves on the board of Adesso African Solutions, an East African natural resources and development organization based in Nairobi, Kenya, and has been an adjunct law professor at Howard University School of Law. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Leslie G. Fields, Esquire.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Fields, and I am honored and delighted to receive a Gertrude Rush Distinguished Service Award with other distinguished awardees this evening for the Gertrude Rush Dinner. I want to thank everyone involved and particularly want to lift up and thank the pioneering women attorneys who blazed the trail for all of us in the National Bar Association. I've been a member of the National Bar for many years, and this award means a great deal to me. I also want to thank all the hardworking officers, staff, and members of the National Bar, especially all those convening this fantastic event, and I'm very sorry we can't be together in person this year. I especially also want to thank my close friend, law school classmate, President Tricia C.K. Huffler, for her visionary leadership of the National Bar this term, especially during this very difficult syndemic, multiple pandemics of COVID and racial injustice, and so many other issues that are plaguing our community. I have a great deal of gratitude going out to our Voter Protection Committee, to which I was honored and privileged to serve as co-chair with President-elect Carlos Moore. It's a fantastic committee this election season, and it's been such an honor, again, also to work with Barbara Arnwine and Lynn Whitfield, the Transformative Justice Coalition, who have worked very closely with us, along with Tanya Clayhouse and many others who are great allies with the National Bar during this election season. And especially want to shout out to the Young Lawyers Division, who really threw down and were so inspirational and worked very hard this election protection season. And I am so proud of them, and we are in great hands and in good stead for the future of the National Bar because of this fantastic Young Lawyers Division. So I want to thank you all. None of us do this alone. It's been a wonderful experience, and working and being involved with the National Bar. God bless you all. Take care.
Bruce Jackson is an Associate General Counsel for Microsoft, where he currently supports the global sales, marketing and operations, U.S. regulated industries, financial services, health and life sciences, and public sector group. In this role, he leads the engagement of a $15 billion business and manages a team of 20. Bruce is a passionate proponent for diversity and inclusion. He has been recognized for helping to shape Microsoft's legal department's diversity efforts, including organizing and executing the first LCA Women and Minority Law Student IP Summit in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Bruce Jackson.
This is Bruce Jackson. And I'd like to start by thanking the National Bar Association and our president, Tricia Hoffler. It's an honor and it's a privilege to receive the Gertrude Rush Award, and I do not take that lightly. I do not perform services on behalf or for the benefit of our community for the purpose of recognition or receiving an award. However, I'd like to take this opportunity to deliver a message. And the message simply is, we have to do more for one another. Yes, we have to continue to fight for racial equity, but there's more that we can do. From an in-house counsel perspective, we need to continue to fight to advance diversity within the legal profession. And how do we do that? I think, one, we have to continue to support the National Bar Association financially. Two, I think whenever there's an opportunity to hire, we have to make sure there's a diverse slate and every individual on that slate has a fair opportunity to get the job. Three, when it comes to outside counsel, we have to make sure, and we should feel obligated that we have a diverse outside counsel bench. See, I'm always reminded of the conversation I have with my colleagues that it's not often that we're in a position to make a powerful change. And when we can, we should. And I'm sure you too, if you're in a position of doing it or doing something, you want to say you did. That being said, I'd like to say thank you for the award, and let's continue on this journey. Thanks.
Dawn M. Jones is the 58th president of the State Bar of Georgia. She is the fourth woman and second African American to serve as president of the organization. Prior to pursuing her law degree, she worked for 14 years as a critical care registered nurse in various hospital intensive care unit settings. Jones has previously served as secretary and treasurer of the State Bar, as a member of its executive committee, and for the past year as president-elect. She is also a past president of the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, a past president of Atlanta Legal Aid, and has held other leadership roles in local voluntary bar associations and organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Dawn M. Jones.
Good evening. Thank you for honoring me with the Gertrude E. Rush Award. This award is especially significant to me for several reasons. First, the organization presenting this award has long been admired and respected by me and countless others. The National Bar Association has at its core a commitment to excellence among Black lawyers, judges, and paraprofessionals, and a commitment to the pursuit of equal justice for all. Second, my village is made up of members of this wonderful organization, including affiliate chapters, the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, and the Gate City Bar Association, and its leadership, including President C.K. Hoffler. I have counted on this village. I have asked for support and guidance from this village. I have prayed with this village, and I would not be sitting here today receiving this recognition if not for the active support and guidance of this village. Third, Gertrude Rush, for whom this award is named, is a trailblazer, including being the first Black woman admitted to practice law in the state of Iowa. She, as many of you likely know, was also the only woman to co-found the National Bar Association. She is literally a reason I am here. I am grateful for this recognition. I am extremely humbled by this honor, and I look forward to continuing the work that the State Bar is doing in conjunction with the National Bar Association and continuing to count on my village, including President Hoffler, the selection committee for their honor, and the members of the National Bar Association for your commitment to service and to equal justice. I'm grateful for it all.
Well, I simply cannot say congratulations enough to Gino and David and Leslie and Tanya and Bruce and our beloved Don Jones. Congratulations on such a well-deserved honor. Stay with me because the program is not over. Georgia has been on the minds of so many across our nation, from turning Georgia blue last year to instituting laws more recently that impact voting rights in the worst ways. Through it all, Georgia holds a special place in our hearts with our rich history in this fight for civil rights that continues. And I feel blessed, along with Madam President C.K. Hoffler and so many of our other NBA family, to call Georgia our home. Please help us celebrate Georgia.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, oh, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see. The road leads back to you. Whoa, Georgia, Georgia. No peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting our show together, we're polishing up our act. And if you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want y'all to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move.
I have had the absolute pleasure of working with Madam President C.K. Hoffler over the years, and one of the tenets of her leadership has always been recognizing those who so richly deserve to be honored. This year, she has been very intentional about honoring law firms, and tonight, the NBA, under her leadership, will continue this effort. With this in mind, let us turn our attention to the work, the history, and the legacy of Thomas Kennedy, Sampson, and Tompkins Law Firm. And let us also honor and congratulate Mr. Sampson as a 2021 Gertrude Rush Awards recipient.
The NBA wishes to congratulate Tom Sampson and the law firm of Thomas, Kennedy, Sampson, and Tompkins. This dynamic law firm based in Atlanta, Georgia, is celebrating 50 years of being in existence. Indeed, it is responsible for training and grooming some of the most dynamic lawyers, judges, and leaders in the state of Georgia. And for that, the NBA has honored this dynamic law firm throughout the entire month of April. So we salute you and we thank you for your contributions to the legal profession.
Staying in business for many is not an easy feat. Factor in the characteristics of being minority-owned, and the odds for success and longevity become greatly minimized. But when legal eagles John L. Kennedy, Reuben T. Bussey Jr., and Thomas G. Sampson Sr. combined their expertise and vision for greatness in the fall of 1971, they laid the foundation for what would inevitably become one of the most accomplished and admirable law firms in the state of Georgia. Currently, Thomas Kennedy Sampson and Tompkins LLP is the oldest minority-owned law firm in Georgia, serving the legal needs of Fortune 500 corporations, governmental authorities, small businesses, and individuals. The firm's practice areas include wrongful death, civil rights, medical malpractice, product liability, negligent security, and trucking accidents. A retrospective look at its tremendous undertakings over the past 50 years reflects nothing less than a laudatory legacy of excellence. Many accolades have been bestowed upon Thomas Kennedy Sampson and Tompkins LLP. The firm has been ranked Tier 1 by U.S. News and World Report. Best lawyers, best law firms in the Atlanta Metro for personal injury litigation, plaintiffs, and defendants for 2021. The firm has also earned an AV preeminent rating by Martindale-Hubbell for 25 consecutive years. Each partner, Thomas G. Sampson Sr., Jeffrey E. Tompkins, and Thomas Woody Sampson Jr., has been included in the Best Lawyers in America for 2021 in the practice area of personal injury litigation, as well as Georgia super lawyers. Thomas G. Sampson Sr. has been honored as a legal legend by the National Bar Association, which inducted him into its Hall of Fame in 2016. Remembering humble beginnings and celebrating current achievements, Thomas Kennedy seeks to continue its tradition of excellence for years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute the law firm of Thomas Kennedy Sampson and Tompkins LLP. Thomas G. Sampson is the managing partner of Thomas Kennedy Sampson and Tompkins LLP, Georgia's oldest minority-owned law firm. Sampson has often been tapped to serve government, the bar, and the community. Former Governor Roy Barnes appointed him vice chairman of the State Judicial Nominating Commission. He has served as president of the Gate City Bar Association, president of the Atlanta Legal Aid Society, chairman of the State Bar of Georgia's Client Security Fund, vice president of the Atlanta Council of Younger Lawyers, and many other roles. Sampson has always found time to teach and mentor young lawyers. He has been an adjunct professor of law at Georgia State University for 8 years, as well as an instructor at the Atlanta College of Trial Advocacy. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute Thomas G. Sampson.
Words cannot express how deeply honored and humbled I am at being the recipient of the Gertrude Rush Distinguished Service Award. I thank President C.K. Hoffler, the Executive Committee of the NBA, and all responsible for the granting upon me this prestigious award. When my late partner, John L. Kennedy, and I founded our firm 50 years ago, our goal and indeed our mission was plain and it was simple. We strove to create a firm that was known for excellence, for being the best at what we did. A firm that served the needs of our community, and finally, a firm that lasted. As our 50th anniversary now unfolds, I and my partners, Jeff Tompkins, and my son, Woody, are committed more so than ever to the firm's founding ideals. With resolute determination, we have set our sails bracing for the next half century, determined not to rest on our laurels. We shall continue our quest to be the best at what we do and continue to serve our community and our people in every way that we can. As I reflect on this coveted award, I am grateful beyond measure. I am keenly aware that this award would not have been possible without the love and support of so many. My dear wife, Jackie, of 53 years, has been my rock and anchor throughout this journey. They are for me each and every step of the way. My extraordinary partners, Jeff Tompkins and my son Woody, who have been by my side for 35 and 25 years, respectively, have contributed enormously to my firm's success and to mine. And finally, I am thankful for the dedicated staff and the many fine lawyers who have graced the halls of Thomas Kennedy, Sampson, and Tompkins, and who have contributed enormously to our success and to our legacy of excellence. We are extremely proud of our firm's alumni. They include the first African American district attorney in the state of Georgia, the first African American state bar president, 13 former presidents of the Gate City Bar Association, including the current president, Ms. Candace Jones, 10 judges on benches ranging from magistrate court to superior court, and 8 Gate City Bar Hall of Fame awardees. So, as you can see, this award has been made possible through the work and contribution of many. I accept the same, acknowledging their contributions and pledging to strive forever to be worthy of this award. In the words of the late Benjamin E. Mays, Jr., my college president, I shall strive to do my work so well that no man living nor yet unborn could do it any better. Thank you.
Social justice, political empowerment, human development, cultural arts. It is at the intersection of these tenets is where one will find LaTosha Brown. She is a catalyst for change, a thought leader, and a social strategist. Her national and global efforts have been recognized, and it is her objective is to catapult people into action. LaTosha is passionate about leading social change for the purpose of advancing humanity, creating a more equitable redistribution of wealth, and empowering people around the globe. LaTosha has raised millions of dollars to support social justice causes and created projects that bring more investments to marginalized communities. She is the co-founder of the Black Voters Matter Fund and the BVM Capacity Building Institute. LaTosha is adamant about ensuring that all human beings have access to quality education, safety, security, peace, love, and happiness. Her work is rooted in the advancement of people, and she is crystal clear that she is called to remind people of the power that they hold within. Her objective is to push people through the birthing process of having a vision to its full and complete manifestation. She is transforming culture through her singing and songwriting. She is an innovative storyteller who is shifting the narrative of African Americans through media, campaigns, and nonprofit projects. She has been featured on CNN, HBO, MSNBC, and Fox, just to name a few. She proudly serves as the founder of Saving Ourselves Coalition, which is a community-led disaster relief organization that helped hundreds of families in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Currently, she serves on many boards, including but not limited to the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation. To hear from her is to gain more clarity about her vision and her life's work. She is committed to connecting quality resources and helping people have a deeper sense of their own humanity so that they can excel. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Latasha Brown.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before Latasha Brown comes on, I just want to take a moment of personal privilege, add a few comments to which Shatori Bates, who's done a phenomenal job as the MC of the Gertrude Rush Awards program, has said. From Oric, who, Bruce, she was going to make comments as well on your wonderful award, but they're one of our sponsors, Allstate as well. So turning to Latasha Brown, I just wanted to say a word about this remarkable, trailblazing, civil rights, social justice engineer who I've had the pleasure of representing in litigation here in Georgia. This woman is so phenomenal that I couldn't imagine a Gertrude Rush Award ceremony without having her be a part of it. You all may not know that she also has, in addition to her extraordinary work with Black Voters Matter, she has another organization called Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium, where they help young Black girls and women in their struggles in establishing foundations, scholarship funds, just tremendous. So without further ado, we're going to hear live from the one and only Latasha Brown.
Greetings. I am so happy to be here to be a part of the Gertrude Rush Awards. You know, as I think about our community and I think about the role of Black lawyers, the role that you all have played in terms of fighting for justice, standing alongside, being our armor bearers, literally being able to bring the fight to the courtrooms, but oftentimes this fight to the streets. Well, the first thing I did right was the day I started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on. When we think about, as I sit here today, really being able to talk to you and share with you all kind of my thoughts and my beliefs around where we are in this moment and what we should be thinking about in this moment. I am in Selma, Alabama. You know, Selma is, as you all know, is infamous for being the birth site of the voting rights movement. You know, there were people in this city who didn't have resources. They didn't have government on their side. They didn't have a district court or even a court system that was on their side, a federal court that was on their side. But what they had is they had a belief in their own ability, their own agency to bring about change. What they had is they had a vision. They had a vision of what their community was deserving of, you know, as if not just then in the past, right? But also in terms of going forward. And the third thing they had is they had a belief in themselves, a belief in their own power. And so, brothers and sisters, as I speak with you today, I think this is a moment of reflection for us. I think we have to think about where we are in this moment. And there are three kind of pieces that I just want to share and just start with. And the first is I want to talk about where we are as it relates to racial inequality and racial justice. This is a moment right now. What we're seeing is this blatant display of white supremacy. You know, in the middle right now as we stand, we're in the middle of and on the eve of a ruling in the George Floyd murder, where all of us actually watched a man literally take the breath out of another human being, that we watched it so cavalier that he had his hands in his pockets and a smirk on his face. That in itself, like it was a turning point moment. It was a reflection moment that all of us were forced to look at racial injustice right in its face. But not just in here in this country, but all over the world. You know, when we look at what happened as a response from it and the George Floyd's uprising, that's the largest uprising in this country's history. There were uprisings in all 50 states. There were uprisings in countries all across the world. Part of it is that people had to reckon and deal with what we know and we experience every single day. like literally being in the throes and in this space of white supremacy, how our life is taken for granted, how we are treated as if we are no more than that. Our life is no more important than an animal, a deer, not even an animal. Because I would even argue that had there been a dog, there would be more outrage from some people in this country that failed to actually even show any compassion for the life and the legacy of Brother George Floyd. But here we sit in a space where there's still people who are even arguing that, as we all saw with our own eyes, they're still arguing in that space. Oh, maybe he was on drugs. And what does that mean? So if he was on drugs, that means his life didn't matter, right? Or maybe that he was, he had this challenging kind of personality. All of those things that are oftentimes, that becomes the excuse to literally being able to justify taking away Black life. And so I'm so proud that many of you and many of us have continued to be on the front lines to fight that. But I raise that because I want to ask you all I know I can't see you all right now, but I want to ask you all to engage in a exercise with me real quick. I want to ask you all to, wherever you are, just to briefly close your eyes. Now close your eyes and get centered. I want you to get centered, clear your mind, operate as if you don't have anything in your mind. Don't worry about what you're going to eat for dinner. Don't worry about what you're going to do after this event. I want you just to really be able to listen and to hear me. And so please close your eyes, and I want you to listen carefully to this question that I'm about to ask you. The question is, what would America look like without racism? What would the justice system look like? What would the education system look like? What institutions would exist? What institutions wouldn't exist? What would America look like without racism? Now you can open your eyes. I'm not sure if any of you all were able to see anything. I ask this question everywhere I go, every talk that I lead. I ask this question. I'll tell you why I ask this question, right? I ask this question because as we are talking about, we're going to affect racial inequity and racial justice. How will we bring that about if we don't have a vision of what the world or what this nation looks without it? What has ever been brought into being in the physical world that was not first envisioned in our mind? It is impossible to bring anything into being that we have not first envisioned. And so I say that in this moment, my charge to you is that we have to ask ourselves that question far more often. We have to ask each other that question and engage in dialogue and discourse around what is our vision of a nation. What would the nation look like without racism? Other than that, we will continue to be responding to a world, to a vision that actually has marginalized us and our people. We will continue to be responding to systems that we know are structurally, inherently racist. We will continue to literally be able to try to beat back those things that have been put in place to actually disempower us. Those things have been put in place to marginalize who we are, to dehumanize us. And so, brothers and sisters, what I say, my first charge to you is, it is important that as we're doing this work, that you see yourselves as visionaries, that part of the work that you do within the legal profession is not just to engage in the court by those rules and their rules, right? But to also think of this in the context of what is a nation, what is the America that we're trying to seek to build that will be free of racism. Because if you're not holding that vision, we will never get there. We will continue to be responding to someone else's vision of who we are. And what I'm raising to you, that in this moment where we're seeing the boils of racism come to the surface, in this moment when we're seeing it in the court system, where we're seeing that the Republicans that are so they're so obnoxious and so open with their structural racism and white supremacy, that they actually have the audacity to go to the Supreme Court and say, yes, pretty much the reason why we are cheating is because the reason why we're suppressing the vote, because if we don't, we're not going to win. Think about that. And so what I am saying, instead of us to continue just to be responding to what others' vision has been around governance and others' visions around what justice looks like, we should see ourselves as visionaries. So my first charge to you is to use this as an opportunity to ask yourself that question often, and your colleagues that question, and those around you that question, and engage in discourse around what is the answer to that? What is the vision of what you see? What would this nation look like without racism? What would America look like without racism? What would justice look like in the context of that nation without racism? And so I think it's really important that you not only ask yourself that question, but you continue to do the work to formulate that vision so that we can actually bring that into being, so that our work is not just in response, that our work is actually proactive, that we see ourselves as Black futurists, that we see ourselves as the founders of a new America, the founders who are going to actually make what is in the Constitution, what is in the Declaration of Independence, make it be not aspirational, but actually be achievable, to be real. And so the first piece that I'm raising for you is have a vision. Continue on that vision, and you have to have a vision, a part of our collective vision, so that we can move our folks beyond the response phase, that we move our folks in a space that we are creating. We are creating the nation that we deserve, that we all deserve, that we can feel honored and respected and valued. The second charge that I'm going to raise is centered around, what I think is what COVID-19 came to teach us. Now, at the end of the day, we all had to experience this awful global pandemic. It has disproportionately impacted our people. At one point in April of last year, I live in the state of Georgia. In April of last year, 80% of all those who were hospitalized related to COVID-19 were African Americans in a state that we only make 30% of the population. So here it is in the wealthiest nation in the world that we love to brag on, yet here we are number one in the world. Only 5% of the population of the entire world lives in the US. We're relatively a small country, yet we're number one in COVID deaths. I would actually say to you that part of that, at the center of that, is because of racism. That literally we have not met our highest and our greatest and our best good when we're talking about having a healthcare system. The resources are here. The intellect is here, right? The ability is here. The will is not here, because we still believe, there are many in this country that still believe that you can have separate, I'm not going to say separate and equal because they know better than that, right? But separate and the perception of fairness. When what inherent in the separation speaks to the unfairness. And so we are not meeting our highest, our greatest potential, because literally this country is weighed down by structural racism. And so COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on our community. What I would offer to you in this moment, as we're thinking about COVID-19, is my question to you is, once again, what did COVID-19 come to reveal and to teach us? And what opportunities do we see? What does our vision show us and the opportunities that are made available while we're seeing kind of what the fragility of these systems that COVID-19 has shown us? Here it is, the wealthiest country in the world, and she could not take care of her people for 2 months without screaming, it's going to break us. Then that means there's something fundamentally wrong with the economic system. There's something fundamentally wrong with all of those structures, those institutional structures. That's why we have to be visionaries. This is why we have to actually set a vision of a nation that can actually deal with structural racism in a way by moving towards a vision that racism is no longer actually the foundation of these institutions. This is why when we're talking about COVID-19, we have to actually see the larger issue, that this isn't just an issue of that the president didn't tell us that how bad COVID-19 is. Yes, it is, but what it did is it unearthed all of the structural problems that, quite frankly, have been rooted within structural racism, which again goes back to our vision. Systems in healthcare would look very, very differently. And the third and the last final point that I want to make is really around how we see voter suppression. You know, y'all, I am, like I said, I am a daughter of Selma, Alabama. Voter suppression ain't new to us. Voter suppression is that every time there's ever been Black progress in this nation, there's always been white backlash. Every time, right? I can go back from Reconstruction. I can go up to from the 20s when we had all of the anti-lynching. Part of that is Black people were making progress. I can go from Tulsa. I can go to the civil rights movement. I can come forward to the 80s. I can go on and on and on. It always has been. The difference, but what is the good news? There is a difference. There is a shifting in the opportunity, because what we know is that the demographics in this country have shifted. That no longer will there be a minority, no longer will there be a white majority, and then there's just a minority. That what we are headed towards is a nation that will be majority made up of what used to be called minorities. And so fundamentally, we're in a transformative moment. We have to really recognize that this isn't just a traditional election, right? Voter suppression, right? As we're looking at it, it's not just what's happening in Georgia, what's happening over this country related to Trump. This is really about not participation. This is about power. And so as a responsibility, we have to really recognize that we're in a moment that, as challenging and as difficult as this moment is, that we are in the fight of our lives. But what we are on the side of right, y'all. And so we have to take our fight. We have to take our fight to the streets. We have to take our fight to the coffers. What does that mean? We have to take it to their pockets, which is why our organization, Black Voters Matter, launched a corporate accountability campaign to hold corporations accountable. That every single aspect of society has a responsibility to upholding democracy. If you're going to benefit from the structured democracy, you have a responsibility to also hold it up as a system. We're not talking about policy differences. We're talking about the fundamental human right and civil right to vote. And then the third fight that has always been a fight that we've used that has been intersectional for us is we have a fight in the courtroom. And it can't just be the big sexy cases that we see that might go to the federal courts or to the Supreme Court, but we've got to fight on the local level. We've got to fight these county commission races. We've got to fight on every single level. All politics are local. And oftentimes that is where our power, that's where we're strongest. That's where we organize. And so I encourage all of you to really think about this space of what I am sharing. You know, I always say, I'm going to leave by saying, I want you to remember what I think are, what was being called for us in this moment. So my question for you is, what is being called of us in this moment? Because in this moment, I don't think it's the same as any other piece, right? I think we're in a historic moment where there's a transformational moment, that there's a transference of power, there's a reordering of systems, and we have to be visionaries. We have to be visionaries. We have to use our voices to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. We have to literally be able to redefine what a victory is. That instead of us seeing this as a zero-sum game, how can we actually create a victory? That at the end of the day, that there can be a win-win for us, right? And fundamentally, I think all this lays on the bed of what our values are. That at the end of the day, even the work that I do around democracy, it is not that I romanticize democracy, because let me say this, that I also live in a nation that this country has actually bombed and killed people in the name of democracy. No, that's not what I'm fighting for. What I am fighting for is I'm fighting for the love of humanity. And to the extent that democracy allows me and allows us to facilitate our work for the love of humanity, that's the value of democracy. We have to center the value in that human life. That what we value is the love of humanity. It doesn't matter if we're fighting in the streets, if we're fighting in the courtrooms, if we're fighting in the boardrooms. Fundamentally, what we as a people have to remember is that we have always been strong at literally holding up the banner that what is most important is that when we're advancing humanity, and that we will do that, we will win because we are on the right side of history. We're on the right side. We are on the right side, brothers and sisters. So in this moment, I leave you with this question. What is being called of you in this moment? And how will you respond? This is a defining moment, not just for our communities, not just for our people, not even for this nation. This is a defining moment for the world. And I believe that our people have something to contribute on the legislative level. I think literally when we're talking about justice, but literally as visionaries, we have to think of ourselves as Black futurists. We have to think of ourselves as those that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We have to think of ourselves as those that will give hope and feed hope and seed hope into our people. And the way that we can do that is literally being stern on our values, lifting up our voice, and creating a vision of a new world, a vision of a new America, a vision that literally says that no, racism isn't welcome here, that we're changing this whole game up. Yes, and we have before. We come from a people, y'all, that literally we were enslaved, that we were treated as we were less than human beings, yet here we stand. Yet now we are literally standing in courtrooms, we're judges, and we're attorneys, and we're strategists, and we're researchers. That's because how phenomenal we are as a people. And so we can't forget that. We have to remember that, but we also have to remember our calling. What is called of you in this moment? And how shall you respond? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom's land. Black voters matter yet, y'all. Black lives matter. Thank you. Black justice matters.
Can we just collectively say, wow? Thank you so much for that extraordinary keynote address. Tonight, we have celebrated and recognized some extraordinary leaders and visionaries and icons and legends. And we hope that you have enjoyed the program. I want to thank you for celebrating with us this evening. And before I turn the program over to Madam President Hoffler, please plan to join us for our Spirit-filled service tomorrow morning, right back here at 10 o'clock a.m. And for those of you all who want to continue celebrating and networking, the DJ and game night starts immediately following this ceremony. I am Shatori Bates. It has been an extraordinary honor to celebrate such greatness this evening. And now I want to turn it back to Madam President Hoffler for closing remarks. Have a great night.
As we close our Gertrude Rush program, again, I want to congratulate each and every one of the honorees and say bravo for the extraordinary work that you continue to do in our community. And I ask that you simply pass on that baton at some point and continue to uplift the younger lawyers so that they too can be trailblazers and be the recipients of these awards. Finally, I wish to bring up our chaplain of the National Bar Association. That would be the Honorable Sonia Natasha Brown. Judge Brown is, as you all may know, is also just a trailblazing lawyer, has done so much. A past president of one of our affiliate chapters, GABWA, past president of the GABWA Foundation, an extraordinary leader and trailblazer in the Atlanta, Georgia community. We salute her, and it gives me great pleasure to bring our chaplain, Chaplain Brown, up to do the closing prayer.
Now may the God who is creator of all keep us safe while we are apart. We ask you, God, to bless the work of this gathering and to help us to go forth in integrity, in wisdom, and in justice. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.